Hello, folks. We are back with another pro-con debate. It's Scott and I from Generation Red, along with Justin, Derrick, and Tyler from the Husker Cuz Cast. What we plan to do is, as you saw in the opening, talk about the non-playoff bowl games. Last Tuesday, we talked about the 12-team playoff. This week, we will see if the bowl games live or die, if you will, and how will they live going into the future. So we'll take a few minutes to talk about our pros and cons, and then we'll debate it a little bit at the end. We'll start with you, Scott. What do you think a pro for you would be for the non-playoff bowl games?
Oh, we get to experience in the state of Nebraska the pageantry of once again going to a bowl game as a 5-7 team, simply because all of those normal slots would be filled. Those would essentially be filled up by an expanded playoff. So there's going to be more bowl games available potentially. So, yeah, I guess we could see less than 500 Nebraska go to, like, I don't know, like an OxyClean toilet bowl or something like that, which would be really fun. That's really the only pro I can possibly think of because, as Tyler alluded to, and while we pretty much all agree, it kind of takes away the pageantry of bowl games. We discussed this in our last episode. It just kind of takes away the pageantry of the bowl games, but hey, you get to see a lot of dog shit matchups now, so that should be fun.
I just want to say this before we move on. Scott, I kind of hope you choke on your spit here a little bit because Matt Rule's going to have us in the playoff, not at 5-7.
Oh, I'll choke on that spit. Will gargle it. I'll gurgle it. I'll spit it.
You'll add some Kool-Aid powder to it.
I will gladly be wrong about that, but until then, I will just be glass half empty with spit.
If you ever want a great reaction someday, not on the live stream, not when we're talking, but call Justin offline and just start gargling your spit. His reaction.
Please don't.
You're gonna start.
Stop.
Oh, that was a slimy one.
Half our listeners just went.
I heard a story over Christmas break from one of my wife's uncles that made me walk away and start drive heaving in the yard.
Okay.
To be fair, that doesn't take much.
So Justin is one of the grossest human beings you'll ever encounter, but he has one of the weakest stomachs of anybody I've ever met.
I do have a weak stomach.
Have you ever watched Jackass?
Watch what?
That's not
Jackass.
for the strong stomach.
Jackass, like the movies or the TV.
Oh God!
The
Not
sweatsuit.
Nope. Not for me.
Sweatsuit beer funnel. Oh yeah, good times. I vomited all over the movie theater. It was disgusting.
Oh God. Anyways, we've kicked this topic off with
5-7
a bang, so to speak. My pro is that we get extra practices to get better as a team. I know that's what Tom Osborne always talked about. It was almost like a second season, a second spring ball, if you will, to get 10, 15 practices. So you can work with some of those younger kids, especially since I think opt-outs, as I'll talk about later, will become a little bit more of the norm. It definitely helps those younger players get a little bit better handle on how to play big boy college football. So I think the extra practices is definitely a pro. Moving on, we'll take a look at what Justin has to say. What's up, Justin?
More betting opportunities. Okay, so
you degenerate.
When it comes to bowl season, the more game, there's no downside about having more games at all. Everybody, I mean, it's fine. Most of the matchups are decent, and if you don't like it, just don't watch. But there's more games to watch. True college football fans are going to tune in to that Tuesday night or Wednesday night or whatever night of a bowl game, and they're going to watch it. I think there's a lot of people that do it. And the degenerates like me, and there's a lot of degenerates out there, are going to be looking at those times for an added betting opportunity. I mean, what are you going to do? Bet on college basketball? I mean, college football is superior to college basketball, especially with the betting opportunities. Plus, the games are, I mean, this past year was a great season for the bowl games. from top to bottom. And I'm out of time.
Well done. Well done, Grasshopper. I am so proud of you right now.
I was cognizant of the clock this time.
That's good.
Attaboy.
Wow, that's a big word. Might
Ask
have to
Tyler to spell it.
big word award for
Big
the
word,
Husker
and he can
Podcast
see
Awards.
numbers.
I'm a big boy now, Derek.
He's got his big boy pants on, and he hasn't sharded in them yet. Go ahead,
early.
Derek. What is your pro? Yeah, it's early. That's true.
Right.
Your pro.
Mine's kind of the other side of Justin here. It's just more football to watch. Like, who is complaining about more football? I love
guy,
football.
Right.
Yeah, that guy. But that guy likes A1 steak sauce, apparently. So, look, I will never complain about more football, whether you're gambling on it or not. I like to gamble here and there, but it isn't even about that. It's just the fact that we get to watch more football. I'm always sad come December because I'm like, oh man, football's about over. So I love it. I keep the games coming.
Tyler, why do you hate college football so much?
Oh, you changed the camera, so now you're just looking into a void.
God damn it, Ken.
I enjoy college football. I am good. No changes for me. I'm good with the product. That you are the ones who want all the changes and reform. So
the changes are coming. It's about being okay with the changes.
You're
It's not even about wanting change. It's about the
Okay. We're not to the debate section yet, and that has absolutely nothing to do yet with what we're talking about. So here you go, Tyler. Your pro.
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, the bowls are just a fun way for the teams to end the season. Like, I think when you look at this, like, bowls still mean something to a majority of the fans. Like, unless you're Alabama and your expectation is to be in the playoff every single year, like, the bowl season is always a fun time for the fans to come around and just the way to end the season. You, Justin, Derek, you both kind of talked about it. If you don't like the game, don't watch it. I've always looked at bowl season. Is this not made for every college football viewer to turn into every single game? It's very much for the teams and the fans that are in it. And, if you don't believe the bowl season is meaningless, wait till next year when we make a bowl. Nebraska fans are going to be going off the chain. It is going to be so exciting. And
I'll pack that stadium.
100%. And it was this year for Tulane and Iowa. As much as I hate Iowa, the fact that they took it to Kentucky is a great moment for them. So I think the bowl season is a great thing for those fans of teams, and a great way to end the year.
Alrighty. Well done. And let's see here. Oh, we're on to cons already, aren't we? Yes, we are. Cons for me, I mentioned it earlier. Player opt-outs, I think, are going to increase. As I did not do enough research on this, but I know there was an awful lot of them. It seems to be increasing every year. I don't see that changing simply because there's going to be 12 teams that are going to really care about playing in their bowl games, whereas everybody else, guys who are getting ready to go to the NFL, are probably not going to be as willing to play in a bowl game that's basically not going to mean anything, except to, as you said, Tyler, quite well, it means a lot to the fan bases. So, yeah, there's a very good chance, say, Nebraska does make a bowl next year, but it's obviously most likely not going to be the 12-team playoff or the 14 playoff, unless it's a decent bowl. I just don't see guys like Casey Thompson playing. If he happens to still be our starter at that point, I don't see guys like Marcus Washington playing if he thinks he's got a good NFL grade. So, or anybody on the defense for that matter, that'll be a senior like a Quentin Newsome. So, opt-outs will increase is mine. How about you there, Mr. Justin?
So this is the only con that I can think of about more bowl games is not enough teams like Power 5 teams playing like in the Bahamas Bowl. So the Bahamas Bowl right now, it's Conference USA and the MAC. And you know what? That whole game, if you ever get to see the Bahamas Bowl and you look at the weather and all the scenery with the side shots of the commercial breaks and stuff, that's something that I damn sure want to attend. And I would absolutely love if like Nebraska ever made a Bahamas Bowl, I don't care if there's anything on the line at all. 5-7 team, sign me up.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, we'd be there.
Bahamas
I know
Bowl,
that.
Hawaii Bowl. I think the college football, now that they're expanding to, to Ireland and Europe and expanding elsewhere, keep it going with the bowl teams and go to the Caribbean. If it's not Bahamas, whatever place in the Caribbean, do that, because that is it's just awesome. It's really awesome.
Alrighty. Derrick, you are up, sir.
All right. So I just don't love the whole 5-7 teams making bowls. Now, this is where I'll go with Tyler as the traditionalist, where you have to at least be a 6-6 team to make a bowl. I never did even like give Mike Riley credit for his first bowl game, even though he beat UCLA. He went there as a 5-7 team. It just seems kind of wishy-washy. What are you doing there? You shouldn't have been there. I mean, Tyler, you want to talk about the season meaning something, but we're going to send 5-7 teams there? Why not just give everybody a participation trophy, and we'll just send every team to a bowl game and let them all play?
Nebraska fans would be ecstatic about that shit over the last 5 years.
Tell me about it. Yeah,
Hey,
I
it's
know.
more
I would.
football.
I'd
It's
take
more
5-7. Hell, I'd have been happy going to a bowl game at 3-5 after 2020, but the offense clearly wasn't happy with that concept. So there we were, not going to a bowl game. All right, Tyler, you are up, bud, and then we can move on to the open forum discussion. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think that one of the things with the bowl system today, and even when you go forward, it's this preset matchup. And sometimes it's a good idea. You obviously have the Rose Bowl. You have the certain times where it makes sense. I just wish, especially with conference realignment and all these teams, you have these old historical rivals that are getting mixed around. Like, I just wish there was like a committee that sat there and said, what would be the most entertaining matchups? And they'd set up for the David and Goliaths, and they'd set up for, hey, Nebraska, you're going to get stuck playing a lot of old Big 8 teams. And USC, when they come over, you'll go back to the Pac-12. I think that sometimes we avoid certain really exciting matchups because we box ourselves into these predetermined number 3 Big 10 plays number 4 ACC matchup. Like, I just wish sometimes they would get a little bit more exciting and play to the viewers a little bit in this regard. So that's kind of the biggest con with the bowl system.
Are you making a case for the David and Goliath in the bowl games?
Yeah, I mean, it's being killed because of the 12-team playoff, but yeah, that would be fun in a bowl game. The Boise State-Oklahoma game was so much fun. That was one of the best football games ever. It didn't mean anything, but it was still one of the best football games. I know you didn't like it, but most college football fans
That's A1 steak sauce kind of take.
No, I mean, Justin didn't like it. You guys didn't like it because it wasn't part of a 12-team playoff. Impossible.
I love that game.
No,
I wish there was
impossible.
more
That was
on
a
the
great
line for that game.
Yeah.
Boise State would have gone forward into a college football playoff to the next round had they.
And they
won
probably
that
would have
game
got
in
their
the
asses
playoff.
kicked, and then that game wouldn't have meant shit because it would have ended, and it wouldn't have been a moment in time snapshot. It would have been part of a bigger picture. But
I should have brought some bourbon to this.
Well,
Sorry, you weren't thinking clearly.
You might have to drink turpentine to get some of this shit off your chest there, Justin.
Tyler, you shocked me.
well, I don't know if you noticed, Dad, but I still have to go. I know that.
Oh my gosh! Yes, I just
after
noticed.
Tyler.
My
I was
bad.
like, oh, I'll correct him at some point. Well,
Sorry, bud.
I made it. I made my con kind of in continuity with Nebraska goes to a bowl game as a 5-7 team, and so of course the con to that is we'll probably end up losing to a decent Group of 5 football team, because if we're really going bottom of the barrel, we're going to probably end up playing a decent Group of 5 team. But I'm going to actually change that, and I'm going to say that the biggest con is that bowl games are just going to end up feeling more like exhibition matches, where it's like you go and you play NCAA, and it's like, I'm just going to do a random matchup, has no meaning, has no value whatsoever. Oh, let's have somebody from this conference play with somebody from this conference. Who cares about the record? Who cares about the skill set? Just boom, let's see what happens. Simulate That's what I think it's going to end up being. So I'm sorry I changed mine last second, but
No,
that was
you're
just
good.
that's kind of what I just thought of. It was like, well, if bowl games, even the crappiest bowl games, no longer retain any value, which they barely did in the first place, then it's all it is really just an accumulation of exhibition matches. Which
Scott,
I mean,
why do you
it's
think
fun.
that? What Scott? Why do you think that's? Why do you think that would change from now till when playoff comes? What makes you think that there's going to be a change in that?
What do you mean a change?
From what your thoughts are on the bowl games today compared to the bowl games when the playoff comes, it's the same thing. Why is it different?
It's. I think it's just from like a spectator standpoint. It's like it's because the college football playoff has expanded so much. The value, the intrinsic value of getting into the college football playoff expands because now more people can claw to that position of prominence in the top 12. And so it further creates a divide of like, here's the division between college football playoff and everything else. It creates an even larger divide, at least in my mind. I don't know how to really articulate it exactly, but in my mind, it separates the two even further than it already was when the college football playoff was initialized. I think it separates it even further because as far as I was concerned growing up, I thought bowl games were just fun from the aspect of just getting to play somebody out of conference. That was really the only reason why I thought it was exciting because we were playing against a team that I see them on television, but I don't see them on the field. And then when the college football playoff expansion happened, it was like, well, it's no longer I'm playing to win this bowl game. I'm just playing some random team just for fun. And then now, even with that expansion growing even further, it's really solidifying that feeling for me as a spectator. It's all anecdotal. Like that's my position, is it's an anecdotal position of like, what do I feel as a spectator watching these bowl games? I just look at them as exhibition matches more so than I ever have in the past. And I think it's just going to continue to grow in that way, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
it does, Scott. And I think you're on to something there. And I have another analogy on this topic.
I can't wait to hear it.
Oh yeah, buddy.
An analogy is probably not the right word, but a person. So if you've ever been in a great hangout in Nebraska, go out in the country, you look up at the stars, it looks really bright. It looks really great. If you go and look into Chicago, New York City, you try to go look at the stars, they don't look so bright anymore. It's when you're around something like the college football playoff, it's going to be a lot of excess light that's just going to dull the stars of the bowl games.
Okay,
guys, I can't.
That is an analogy.
That was the A1 steak sauce of analogy.
No. I agree with that analogy.
It's just
A1 steak sauce bullshit. I think that's dog shit analogy. But that one was good because that one actually made sense. So
the A1 steak sauce makes sense too, but
it doesn't make any sense. It actually loses sense. It's like my 401k. It's declining in value.
I got to go a different route here. Like Scott, I'm going to go off your original take here on the Nebraska losing to a group of 5. Ken,
yeah.
Ken, call your local priest because Scott needs the exorcism of the demon we call Justin. And he just absolutely wants to shit on everything Nebraska can and will do. Like,
listen, until I see it. Until I
we got a new coach. We got a great new coach.
I'm tired of winning the off-season national championship. I'm just gonna.
Why? Let's win them. We can fill trophy cases with those championships.
I'd rather fill them with podcast trophies, buddy.
Well,
we need a meme
on it. We're okay with that.
Ken, we need the meme right now of the wrestling. It's still real to me. We're talking about the off-season.
Yeah.
It's real to me.
It's real to me. Yeah.
Oh
so,
my gosh.
You okay,
Justin had to go get some hard alcohol. I'm making too much sense to him.
Tyler, you just amaze me every time we talk.
I know you're learning something. Write this down, Justin.
See, the beauty of doing
honestly,
the beauty of doing these recordings with you guys is the fact that all I have to do is throw out a few bullet points and just let you guys
let us
go.
fight.
It's wonderful. There's almost no prep for me.
You know,
and I get free content out of it. It's glorious. And thank you.
I will say this, but on the agreement set, I really did have a hard time finding things that just. I think I'm aligned with all of your guys' takes generally on the expanded bowls. Like, I think that like the thought of the extra practices meaning something. I honestly wish they would just do that for every team. I think it's kind of ridiculous. They have a bowl, like the bowl teams get the advantage, but like I think that's good. I agree with Justin.
I think it would be kind of cool if you're just gonna expand it. I do mean it. Just let everybody play a bowl game.
Yeah,
and just do like they did in 2020 with the Big Ten, and let the bottom team play the bottom team, but just switch conferences around once in a while. I'll go, well, Big Ten's gonna play the ACC this year, and we'll go bottom team versus bottom team, and on up until we get to the playoff teams. And then the next year do Big Ten and SEC and just
I like that.
Switch it around. Like
Derek, that was kind of my thought on the comparison of bowls. Like I thought about how fun would it be to have an SEC Big Ten challenge for a bowl season.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're gonna just allow every team into a bowl game, I'm all right with that.
Yeah,
I would love to see like a 2-10 like Indiana play against like a
Vanderbilt.
A Vanderbilt. Like let's just fucking go. Let's see what the hell happens here.
But I also think it would be fun if we just quit doing random bowl sites and some of those lower tier games and did like Ken was talking about last episode and make teams play at home instead. Just let's do some on campus games. We'll call them bowl games. Call them what you will, but
I like what Justin
make
said.
some South teams come up north, and I mean North teams have to go south too, but.
I know from like a logistical standpoint and a money standpoint, it's not all that practical from a sponsor of a bowl, but I do agree with Justin. I think if you get these bowl games to places that are more aesthetically pleasing to fans, I mean, that's kind of what they do with a lot of these bowl games anyway. But if you could find a way to market it even more and get these ridiculous sites and these,
I'll be the first to admit that, because if you watch the Pinstripe Bowl up in New York, that was miserable. I mean, the game was fun, the game was all right, but there were like 50 people in the stands.
Was the Pinstripe Bowl also the one that had like the field coming apart at the seams? Like, was that one, or was there a different one? Because I saw Twitter losing their mind over the field coming apart.
But see, the Pinstripe Bowl, while I think it's lost its allure, but like in the history, like when it started, it was like old Yankee Stadium where it was played, which was kind of probably cool to someone out there. Like, but
until they went there in December.
But like, I don't know if it would be cool, but like, I agree with the locations. Like, we don't need to have 8 bowl games in Orlando. Like, we can move probably one to the Caribbean or go to Europe or go to Lambeau or like find better locations.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they don't do the big teams and especially the well-traveled teams like in Bahamas or whatever, because the stadiums are pretty small, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't seat a lot of people, but you know what? You're asking a lot of people to make that commitment to go there. So you're not so whatever you would have in Orlando, I mean, you're probably only get like half that would be willing to travel to Bahamas or whatever.
But it might also help with opt-outs, right? Like, I mean, heck, you're kind of a borderline, but you can go sit in Jamaica for a week.
Oh my God. I love that idea.
I'm screaming for everybody that goes to Jamaica to get a piss test when they come back.
Wait, including fans?
Well, them too.
The Rum Punch Barbados Bowl. Yeah. Well.
Oh, man.
There we go. How to find you guys, right? Facebook, Twitter at Husker Cuz Cast, and subscribe to the Auto Podcast by searching for the Cuz Cast on your favorite Husker Cuz Cast on your favorite podcast app. And you guys, you each got handles on Twitter, right?
Yeah, none of us tweet very much, but you can follow us at Cuzcast Justin for me, at Cuzcast Derrick, and at Shafe Mania for Tyler.
Yep.
And as always, you can find us at Husker Cuz Cast for our podcast, where we tweet all of our podcast updates and more, and like us on Facebook. Our podcast can be found anywhere you get your podcast. So don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.
Absolutely. If you are watching this one on YouTube, folks, please do us a big favor and like this video, whether you like it or not. It just helps the channel. Also, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at GenRedPod and Generation Red on your favorite podcast app. GenRedPod.com is our website, and GenRedPod@gmail.com if you want to send us any comments or questions. And Scott also has a Twitter handle.
I do, in fact, have a Twitter handle. It is at ScottGenRedPod. That is Scott with 2 T's. The second one is, in fact, silent. Yeah, you can follow me there. I just do a bunch of, Husker takes and then dad jokes and just random whatnot. So follow me there.
Alrighty. And then next Tuesday, we will be presenting another half-hour debate, pro-con debate about, interesting topic that came up in a press conference with the new offensive coordinator for Nebraska, in which he mentioned specifically huddling on offense. Instead of just going up and shotgun and having cue cards on the sidelines, we're actually going to huddle again. And we might even take the next Tuesday to talk about the return of the fullback. So you've got those to look forward to. Anyway, we really appreciate all of y'all watching. Make sure that you have liked and subscribed to this channel. Make sure you ring that bell so you don't miss those next streams when they start at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. And then the audio podcast will also be available by searching for Generation Red on your favorite app. That podcast should be available by 8 a.m. the next morning. Anyway, I'm Ken. He's Scott. Together we're Generation Red. Justin, Derrick, and Tyler. They're the Husker Cuz Cast. Together, all 5 of us, we're known as the Big Red Roundtable, and we're here to remind you every single week that there is no place like Nebraska.
And Iowa's corn sucks cubes of hot dog water ice every single week.
Well, Fairbury might not be so bad. Red ice.
It goes good with whiskey.
Dilute your whiskey with hot dog water ice cubes. That is wonderful.
Oh, good Lord. I'm glad.
How did you know I mixed hot dog water ice in my bourbon?
I just had this sneaking suspicion that you guys were all Iowa fans.
Well, it explains the Sharks from last year. Anyway, thanks, folks. We will see you next week.